What happens when your traffic source shuts down? Most affiliate marketers don't think about what happens when your traffic source shuts down until it does. Then the thinking happens fast, and it mostly sounds like panic. The platform changed an algorithm, a safe list closed, an ad account got banned, a feature got deprecated. The thing that was sending traffic yesterday isn't sending it today, and there's no appeal process that's going to move fast enough to matter. This post is about that moment, what it actually means, why it keeps catching people off guard, and what the ones who survive it did differently. Why one source feels like enough. When something works, there's no obvious reason to build a backup. The leads are coming in, the clicks are happening. You're not sitting on a pile of margin to spend testing something new when the current thing is already doing the job. This is not a failure of discipline. It's a reasonable response to limited time and limited budget. The problem is that the platform is not making decisions based on what works for you. It's making decisions based on what works for the platform. When those two things stop lining up, the platform wins. Always. And the notification, if you get one at all, arrives after the decision is already final. Waiting for the company to listen to feedback is not a strategy. Neither is assuming the reversal will get reversed. Sometimes it does. More often it doesn't. And the people who banked on it being temporary spent that time not building anything. What the cut actually costs. The traffic loss is the visible part. The less obvious part is what traffic dependency reveals about everything downstream. If your list was built on one source and that source goes quiet, you find out quickly whether the list was actually yours. A list that only grew because of one platform's lead flow isn't a list. It's a borrowed audience. When the source stops, the borrowing stops with it. The same logic applies to any funnel built around a single entry point. The funnel looks like an asset until the thing feeding it disappears, and then it's just a series of pages with no traffic. None of this means the work you did was wasted. It means the work was incomplete. The funnel exists, the list exists, the messaging exists. What was missing was a second way in. What changes when you're not dependent on one source? Diversification gets described as a risk management concept, which makes it sound like something that costs you efficiency in exchange for safety. That's not quite right. What actually happens when you build a second traffic source is that you stop caring as much about what any single platform decides to do. The ad account that got flagged is annoying, not catastrophic. The safe list that went quiet is a loss, not a shutdown. The decision one company makes in a quarterly review stops having the power to end your month. That shift in how you hold the risk changes how you work. You stop building everything around keeping the one source happy. You start building things that can survive the source being gone. The marketers who came out of major platform shifts without losing everything weren't better at predicting what the platform would do. They were already building in a way that didn't require the prediction to be right. What to do now? If you are currently dependent on one source and that source is still running, the work is straightforward, if not easy. Identify what you would do if that source went quiet tomorrow. Not what you hope would happen, what you would actually do. Where would the next lead come from? How long would it take to replace the volume? If the answer is unclear or the timeline is longer than a few weeks, the work is to build the second option now while the first one is still running. Not instead of it, alongside it. The goal isn't to abandon what's working. It's to make sure what's working doesn't have to be everything. The marketers who come out of shutdowns intact usually aren't the ones who saw it coming. They're the ones who weren't betting the whole operation on one source not going away. What happens when your traffic source shuts down? And what to do before it does? When affiliate marketers ask what happens when your traffic source shuts down, the honest answer is exactly what you'd expect, and probably faster than you'd like. The traffic stops, the leads slow down, the funnel goes quiet. And the only thing that limits the damage is whether you had something else running. If you want to build the kind of traffic infrastructure that doesn't collapse when one platform makes a decision without you, start here.